Okay, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Well, I guess you already know where we're going to go. I mean, you know how we roll. That's what the young people say. So the way we're going to be rolling is that the ministries will not be going round. That much has now been made plain by Mr. President. Yes, he has, with the 36 ministers that have now been confirmed, well, ministerial nominees that have now been confirmed. The next step is everybody now wants to know, okay, so who's going to be where? And, well, the one thing that has come out is that there will not necessarily be 36 ministries, 30 ministries. So the president has a figure in mind. And people have said that, fine, now that this is over, perhaps we can get down to business now. So we'll look at these two issues. One, what's going to happen to the excess ministers? We'll explore that. And this kind of a situation where the president's mind is one way in this particular administration, but he has to also satisfy other provisions. The constitutional one is the most important. Well, Mr. Clem Baye is here. He's our policy analyst. Thank you very much for coming on again, Clem.
Good morning, Yori.
Indeed, thank you very much for coming. And we have Mr. Jermaine Sanwo-Olu. Mr. Sanwo-Olu is, well, he's a Nigerian. Don't let that Jermaine name fool you. He is one of us, thoroughbred. But he is based in the UK. Yes. In fact, a UK PR consultant, and he's also a public commentator. Yes. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank
As
you
I said, you live in the UK, yes. But you grew up in Nigeria.
Yes,
you grew up in Nigeria, went to University of Lagos, so yes. Now you are no stranger to your fatherland.
No.
Okay, it's just that now the base is different and you are frequently in and out.
Yes, I am.
And so we'll be getting some perspectives from you. Maybe let me even start from you. Yeah. Before we go very far, look, since you're in the PR business, you're a PR consultant, the recent quote-unquote spat, where it was said that, where the president had said that things are so very bad that you can't even believe it. And of course, you know, the opposition has said instantly that, Mr. President, you're demarketing Nigeria. Give me your perspective. What was the perspective from yonder?
Well, PR is about perception and reality, you know, managing it. And the reality now is that things may be difficult when it comes to the economy and all that. But I believe the president said it with a good heart, that things are really bad. But the brand Nigeria has been seen all over the world as a very, very good one where to invest. But I'm sure that most investors always like to be aware of the risks that they're going to face before investing. So integrity has been Mr. President's watchword. So him saying the truth is not a bad thing, but it's just, you know, how you are able to say this is what's happening, but also cast a good future that things are going to get better. We're doing all we can to make it a investment-friendly nation. So it's just balancing both ends, and I'm sure he's doing that with his team.
Okay, good opening salvo. I'm happy to hear that from your perspective, the people are optimistic about this beloved country of ours. Now, Clem, on to the business we have on the ground today. We got all those ministers confirmed. The Senate President, no less, he took it there, took the list, the confirmation list to the President personally, and then that's where the statement came out that thank you very much for your work, but the ministries won't be going round. What is that, Clem? How is that going to work? The Constitution seems to be pushing us in a way where we have to get more than we actually need, since needs will differ from time to time.
The more you look, the less you see. I think that the president got himself into a spot of bother for no major reason. The truth of the matter is that consistently it's been like that with the humongous constitution that we have that prescribes that each state of the federation, including Abuja, should have a nominee sitting at the table of the Council of Ministers, what the Constitution refers to as the Federal Executive Council. To that extent, there's still one to go. You can put it that, representing Abuja.
Representing the Federal Capital Territory.
Yes, there's still one to go. Be that as it may, if you look at it historically from the 1979 Constitution, what people have come up with ingenious ways of solving this problem. One, they had ministers of state.
Now, ordinarily, in the United Kingdom, where Jermaine lives, a minister of state is not in the cabinet. But in Nigeria, a minister of state actually attends the cabinet meetings. All right?
And he even said that all of them will be attending the executive meeting.
They do.
Yeah.
And then there are ministries that need more than one minister. Minister of Foreign Affairs would need minimum 2, possibly 3 ministers. You have to have one devoted to African affairs. You have to have one devoted to maybe multilateral institutions, and then another one maybe all geographically. You can say Asia, Africa, or Asia, Europe, or something like that. Then you have Ministry of Education.
Is this claim because we're looking for places to plug people in, or is it the norm also in other countries where there are not these constraints?
What I'm saying, Yori, is that it is the Constitution that is the problem.
Okay.
You cannot have one Minister of Education for the entire ministry, or one Minister of Defense. You see,
but isn't that the way it works elsewhere?
Yes, take the American
in other countries.
system. Yeah, in American system, you have Secretary of Defense. And you have Secretary of Navy, and that includes the Marines. You have the Secretary of the Air Force. You have the Secretary of the Army, and that includes Veteran Affairs is now a department on its own. All right.
The National Guard,
National Guard is also regarded as part of the Army. Now, in India, they have, because I counted it this morning, just to be sure that I didn't get. I think they have 23 cabinet ministers. India is the size of Nigeria by 6 or 7. All right. So, which means that really it is the way our constitution has been fashioned that is the problem. Ordinarily, we are not supposed to have everybody coming to the table. In fact, I complained about the cabinet we've been having. They're not really cabinet. Listen, there you have special assistants. They attend meetings.
They do?
Yes, they do. You have spokesmen of the president. The spokesman of the president normally does not sit in at cabinet meetings. No disrespect, these are my friends. You understand.
Of course.
We're just doing analysis here. But I used to call it an assembly. I said Federal Executive Assembly because it's so humongous and it's so plenty and so many diverse and special interests are there. Occasionally you even had civil servants come in when they said they came to defend a council memo. Okay. Now, you have 36 or 37, as the case may be. You're going to have ministers for special duties. Often when they say minister of special duties, they actually have assignments they are doing. They may not be as busy as the Minister of Education or as the Minister of Works, okay? But then you have a ministry like Environment, you have a Minister of Environment and a Minister of State. They're going to be clashing, because there's not too much to do. No disrespect to environment, as in Nigeria.
Okay.
Now you have a Ministry of Labor, and you also have Minister of State for Labor. All will happen is that there will be clashes. But where there's a lot of work, if you have Minister of Education and you have Minister of State for Education, one takes care of tertiary education, or what they call higher education in the UK, all right? Another one takes care of secondary and primary education, and so on and so forth. They are those are humongous ministries that require more than one hand. I think when the president is speaking, you see, because the president is somebody who is a very factual person, and he's a bit mechanical in his statements. He gets himself into a spot of bother for not too much of a reason.
And gives opponents or critics sort of fodder.
Something to there are issues, and he's trying to solve them. We've given the president of Nigeria, whoever is the president of Nigeria, we've given him a very difficult task of how to run a cabinet of 30 to 30 something, whereas most other countries, I cited India, the world's largest democracy. I cited America, the world's best example of a presidential system. Let alone the UK, where my friend Jermaine lives, which they run a system. You call Secretary of Defense, then you say Armed Forces Minister. Then you have somebody in charge of procurement.
So there's, quite frankly, there is work.
There's work to be done.
There's work to be done.
As idle as at times our present Oga would say, with respect, that they're just noise makers. They're not noise makers.
So, Jermaine, so what do you think of that overview? Is there any such thing as a perspective, as far as you are aware of the youth, or really is that very much it, or are there things that you might have perhaps expected, speaking for the constituency of the youth, which after all, these are the guys that are really, all this work is going on for, they're the guys who are going to take over.
Yeah, very true. First of all, I think the Constitution was designed to ensure that there's equality and inclusion, when it comes to representation at that level. And I'm sure the president will, play his cards well. They say
he said every one of them will attend the cabinet
meeting. And they say it takes teamwork to make the dream work. So if many people may be in one ministry or the other, to actually, sensitive ministries that involve a lot of brain power, then it may put people there. Now, I'm sure many youths are actually especially diasporan youths, I'm sure Nigerian youths too, they may be a bit upset that, there is no much representation of the youths. The average age is like 45 or 50 in the ministerial list that was sent. So that makes them feel excluded. However, I'm sure there are parts that we have to play, in national development, and I'm sure the president is going to find a way of including us in that aspect. Now, diasporans is a different level entirely. Many diasporans in America, in England, in Canada, around the world, we're kind of like complaining that, Mr. President, why didn't you include us in this? Why didn't you bring us on board? They were expecting one person or the other to be from the diaspora, but it didn't happen. But I think our compensation may be in the other ministries, and we are hopeful about that. But the Chinese use the formula.
Sorry, which other ministries? Let me just add.
Other parts of the government.
Okay, there are other.
That's what I meant. Okay. Other sectors,
Apart from
ministries, they're becoming as technocrats.
There's a lot of work to be done.
There's a lot of work. That's what the Chinese did. Why China is one of the strongest economies in the world today is that they use an ABC formula, which is the American-born Chinese formula. They went to look at Chinese that were born in America, that had expertise, that had skills, and they brought them as diasporans to China to start restructuring the economy, and they were welcomed. There's a kind of like a feeling and a notion that diasporans will be coming to take the jobs, or some people feel that diasporans are just there to ride over Nigeria. But no, we're all Nigerians. We believe in a new Nigeria. We want to see this country get better, and that's what we hope that will be included. That's why I'm actually going to be coming here more often to get involved. Because it's one thing to be talking from London and America and saying things to happen, social media. It's another thing to get engaged, get involved in the process.
Indeed.
Yes, and that's why I'm here. And I believe that we as youths, we have a voice.
Not that you're here to be campaigning to be minister.
No. Minister of Youth Affairs. No.
But I understand. What you're talking about is the diasporans, as you call them, engaging more, perhaps.
Exactly.
Engaging more with home.
Yes.
That is for, quite frankly, let's talk. Let's call a spade for the more sensible ones among them. Now, I said that horrible thing because you actually have diasporans who actually are very funny about being a Nigerian. You actually find them referring in terms of the Nigerian, your setup. You know what, the things going on there, and you look at this black face and you say, sorry, where did you come from? I mean, is it not yesterday, so to speak, that you've left and suddenly you've got an accent and suddenly it's become you Nigerians? There's still a lot of that lack of confidence in some diasporans, but hopefully not too many, because that's what it is. It's an insecurity complex.
I think some people, they forget where they are coming from, and your roots will determine your fruits, as they say. Where you're going to, where you're coming from will determine where you're going to get to. And so I think many Nigerians abroad, most of us are beginning to be more patriotic. With the change mantra and the new administration, we are hopeful.
Okay.
We are really hopeful that the Buhari administration will deliver that change.
Okay.
Because we want to see a change in Nigeria. I'm so glad I came to Lagos and I was able to use my Google Maps, get anywhere, VGC, Lekki, Ikeja. It was fantastic. Things are improving.
Things that you thought
that were not there, exactly.
Were just not there.
We're not there, exactly. And so we know that things are getting better. That one I will tell diasporans that, come back home. If you may be a diasporan, but visit Nigeria Nigeria more often, do more work here.
You may be
invest
diasporan,
in
but you're a
Nigeria.
Nigerian.
Yeah,
You may be a diasporan, but you're a Nigerian.
Nigerian, 'cause
you
you
know,
know,
and we worry about you. Abike Dabiri, when she was in the National Assembly, really did a lot of work.
Yeah, she's amazing.
In that area.
There was a Diaspora Day conference just in, I think it was in September. I attended in Abuja. She was there, presented an award. She's an astounding woman,
of course.
It's a great thing. And we really want to see diasporan involvement. I want the government to know that we want to see people, young people, because we are many, we have a lot of talents and abilities. We want to do stuff for our motherland. And remember, the diaspora is just like, it's almost the second largest state in Nigeria. We in UK alone, we are over 2 million. Combined, we're over 17 or 20 million. So that is a workforce, intellectual capital, human resources that can bring transformation due to their exposure and their new orientation to bring about structural changes in Nigeria.
Indeed. And although that's not the topic for today, this whole matter about the vote, the diasporan vote, that's something that has to be worked on as well.
Yeah.
But the candidates in the last election, as you recall, they paid a lot of mind to what you've just said, because they were in the UK, they moved around, they were in the US, even though at the time, as we speak, you can't really vote from outside, not yet. But Clem, now the other thing people are saying, and thank you very much for all of that, Jermaine, what people are saying is that, okay, can we get down to business now? You know, surely there are no impediments now. Now it's just a matter of putting whoever where. But with what the president has said in relation to the ministries not going around, I guess this has thrown a spanner in the works of those who are predicting.
It's an unnecessary spanner, I must repeat, Yori. You see, because the truth is that there wouldn't have been enough portfolios to go around. What people come up with is creative ways to make use of the resources, the eminently qualified people that have been cleared by the national.
It's just that they will be of cabinet rank. That's all.
Yes.
But
the thing is that there's work to be done, and at times I think that maybe one of the things the president should be considering is to going beyond the ministries, what Americans call departments, and in UK it's called departments, going beyond them and take thematic issues. Just assign somebody a theme. One of the biggest things, one of the best things I want to see is a minister for government reform. A minister that will sit down and all he does is that every week he sits with the president and says, sir, we do not need Federal Reporting Council, this other council, that other council. I just started with Federal Reporting Council, not that I have anything against them. But you have Salaries and Wages Commission, you have Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission. Some of their responsibilities, they encroach on each other. Somebody that has the view, it doesn't necessarily have to be a legal mind, but somebody that understands issues, has a broad mind, has maybe well-read, possibly, but certainly well-exposed, that knows that you do not separate your transport. Ministry of Aviation is different. Ministry of Transport is different, and somebody that can come up and say, hey, why don't we have a secretary for a department, a Ministry of Transportation, and then you have a Minister of Aviation under the Ministry of Transportation or Minister of State. You have Minister of Maritime, and then you have another one. And in fact, you go beyond that. You can break the entire approach and shake up the system. Listen, Ministry of Works, that is road transportation.
That's right. That's right.
Why do you have Ministry of Works, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Aviation? They are supposed to be one. They're supposed to think
even
like
there's
one.
a sense in which somebody can even, with style, add the environment.
Okay.
You know,
now
that,
look,
let us patch this one there too.
One of the
because
things
all of this operates within our environment.
One of the things that happened during the last administration of Goodluck Jonathan is that they took Ministry of Agriculture and made it a ministry beyond just supplying fertilizer. It's not that they were not doing other things before. It's because that is the thing that preoccupies the man. Because with respect, no disrespect to the people there, one or two of them were my friends, former ministers there. But the fertilizer thing is the preoccupation. How to get fertilizer, let fertilizer come in time. So what does that do? So opportunities for rent seeking were quite significant. And that took a lot of the time to do some forward thinking. Now, what we come about is that the linkages and the various value added is what we're now looking at. Now, it just takes somebody with vision to come in and say, listen, I have a minister who just reports to he has a meeting with the president every week, and he comes up with new ideas. That, hey, Mr. President, we should have been thinking Minister of Energy. Why Minister of Petroleum, Minister of Mines, Minister of Power, maybe Minister of Energy? Somebody that's about to break up the whole ossified and calcified systems, and come up with fresh templates.
Because people are just using templates that have existed.
This
is the way it's been done. If it ain't broke, why fix it?
Yes.
But people are saying it is broken.
It is broken, and it has to be fixed. So I think that the president has a golden opportunity because of his mindset. His mindset is that, look, there are no... I was going to say shibboleths, but this is a TV station. You know, I don't want to lose our audience because I love them very much. Okay, but there are no things that cannot be tampered with. So let us break up anything that is constituting, you know, an obstacle. And no, people say that the president said that they're not. Listen, you have a Minister of State for Finance. He is usually in charge of the revenue generator, the FIRS, and also this monthly allocation thing. And then the senior minister, okay, the Minister of Finance, not coordinating minister, but just Minister of Finance. That minister is in charge of relating with multilateral institutions, borrowing monies, and general economic policy of government. You need somebody to make sure that the new person at the FIRS is doing a good job and is getting enough ministerial supervision. You need somebody to make sure that this monthly allocation, why do people have to travel? Why not just credit the accounts of the ministers? I mean, just people travel. Governors and
the Vice President has
swishing
signified
and swashing around the place, just traveling in and out of Abuja. A lot of governors spend half of their times in Abuja.
Yeah. Very true. And I think, you know, change is very important. And change may not be comfortable, but for it to be constructive, there has to be creativity employed in it. And I believe that what the present administration is doing. Now, we saw, you mentioned about traveling. His Excellency, the Governor of Kaduna State, El-Rufai, you know, was actually in the UK with Professor Shibanjo, the Vice President of Nigeria, 2 weeks ago, and we saw him, I was with him in the Nigerian High Commission, London. Now, you can see what he did in Kaduna. He's employing that same model of condensing the ministries and all that. And I believe it could work. You know, as you said so clearly well, that we don't really need to, you know, have one big ministry. You know, America is always complaining about big government. We don't want to have big government. We need to condense things, you know, decentralize things, and make sure that this Nigeria we hope and dream for happens. Because we've been praying for change, and this is the change. Let's do something different.
We'll
get different results.
Part of that, you're talking about creativity. I guess also everybody has to be on the same page. Now, you would think that was, so you can take that as a given. But perhaps the president, he's right. He's announced, it's been announced from the presidency that all these guys who have just been confirmed are going on a retreat. Probably that is where, so to speak, the coach and his team will now map out this match, this 4-year match in the first half. Maybe that's the way they'll be thinking about it. Like, look, the first half, this 4 years, see how we're going to go. And that's terribly important, isn't it?
Yuri, I hate to interrupt you, but you know, we cannot go on with this notion that my state is always being given a ministry that is not juicy.
That whole matter of juicy. Well, first of all, but Mr. President has said that why all of this is, and is even up for discussion at all, is that we're too broke to go that way, to go the way of yesterday.
The orange has been squeezed to exhaustion. Exactly. So there's no juice anymore.
There's no juice anymore.
So you're right. Maybe I didn't even need to point to that because the orange is juicy.
There's no more juice in the orange at all. Is what the president is talking about. Although some people can go into, since we're talking in these terms, go into negative juicing. They can begin to negative squeezing. Since you squeezed up to zero, there are people that probably will begin to squeeze for -0.2.
Yes,
You know, and let's see how far we
And
can
as
go
we
in the
know
other direction.
with an orange fruit, it's not only the juice that is valuable there. You know, and I think creativity is important in managing new states now, you understand?
I guess we need thinkers outside of the box.
Outside of the box, you can use the pull, you can use the forward. A lot of things can be done in those states that are not, that seem not to be productive or juicy. You know, when one of the governors, I think, or person involved in investment in Niger State came to London, that was last year. He actually said that, you know, in Niger alone, you can actually, the rice production that can be done in that state can feed almost Africa. So imagine that. So it may not seem as a juicy state, it's just next to Abuja, but a lot can be done in that place. And I think creatively, we need to start looking at new ways of generating income.
Indeed. Let me return to that matter of juicy ministries, Clem, because you don't hear just of juicy ministries, you also hear of juicy committees. I was reading something the other day, and one man was complaining that he's no more a rookie senator or a rookie legislator, let me say. He's no more a rookie legislator, and the kind of thing they were offering him is an insult to my people. There are juicier ministries. And I'm beginning to wonder that the way we're using this juicy, this word juicy, I don't know what it can only mean one thing. And why are people talking like that?
It means something evil.
It's bad. It's very
Someone
bad.
wants to drink
It
juice.
means
What has been happening
it means there's
is
money to
that
be made. That's
That's
the juicy.
it.
it's rent seeking that
Yes.
we're looking at. That, okay, you're put in this particular committee, it's committee on federal capital, on works, and so because of that, they have humongous contracts to be awarded. So, what are you talking about?
Yeah, so your boys are here.
We're talking
Your
about
boys are
bribery
here.
and corruption now.
Yes, we're here for you, sir.
Yeah,
Never mind the sun. We've been here.
We've
We're
been
for you.
here all this time for you. That's not good.
Okay, one moment, please. We'll take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, please. We'll be right back. And of course, we'll include your calls as well as we continue the conversation.
Yeah.